Iran's missile strikes appear to have hit Israel far harder than Prime Minister Netanyahu originally admitted, with secret damage to key infrastructure now coming to light. New reports suggest Israel's largest refinery complex in Haifa Bay was so badly battered that reconstruction is expected to stretch all the way to 2028, exposing a long-term energy vulnerability. Questions now swirl if Netanyahu's vaunted Iron Dome failed to stop Iranian missiles from crippling a vital energy lifeline, raising doubts about Israel's true defensive strength in a full-scale war. Israel's oil refineries appear to have suffered significantly worse damage from Iranian strikes than authorities first acknowledged, with new reports exposing the true scale of destruction across the complex. Reconstruction work at the Haifa Bay refineries is now reportedly expected to continue until around 2028, indicating that repairs are extensive, costly, and will affect Israel's energy system for years. Energy Minister Eli Cohen and the company operating the site had initially insisted that no major damage had occurred, suggesting at the time that operations and infrastructure remained largely intact. The Bazan group previously claimed that only the roof of a distillate storage tank had suffered limited damage, implying that the incident was minor and confined to a single part of the refinery. Subsequent official reports, however, stated that critical gas turbines, industrial boilers, and key electrical systems were hit in the strikes, pointing to deep, systemic damage inside the refinery complex. One large oil storage tank that was struck during the war was reportedly damaged beyond repair, meaning it cannot be restored to service and will likely have to be completely replaced. In response to the scale of the destruction, Israeli authorities have approved a large-scale reconstruction plan for the Haifa Bay complex, signaling a long-term commitment to rebuilding the site's core capabilities. The Haifa refineries play a central role in supplying fuel for Israel's industry, agriculture, and transport sectors, making damage to this facility a direct threat to the country's economic and logistical lifelines. The complex is reported to be capable of processing about 9.8 million tons of crude oil each year, underscoring its importance as one of Israel's primary hubs for refining imported crude into usable fuels. Reports also said that 3 Bazan employees were killed in an Iranian strike in June 2025, highlighting the human cost of the attacks alongside the significant damage to critical energy infrastructure. Israel has maintained tight military censorship over information about damage caused by Iranian missile attacks, restricting public details and shaping how much of the true impact is visible to the outside world. During the war, Iran is also alleged to have hit several other sensitive sites, including air bases, the Kiryat military and government complex, the Weizmann Institute, and parts of Haifa, suggesting a broad targeting strategy. Satellite imagery reportedly showed visible damage at the Ramat David Air Base, according to the Times of Israel, providing independent visual evidence that key military infrastructure was struck during the conflict. The revelation comes at a moment when tensions between Israel and Iran have once again surged, adding fresh strain to an already volatile regional standoff. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warned that Tehran would school Israel if it chose to defy the US-brokered Memorandum of Understanding aimed at ending the recent conflict. Araghchi's remarks came after Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz issued fresh threats against Iran's leadership following the recent ceasefire arrangements. According to Israeli media reports, Katz said Iran's Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei was marked for death if Tehran continued what Israel described as hostile actions. Responding to those remarks, Araghchi said the terms of the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding were clear, public, and binding on all parties involved. The Iranian foreign minister also claimed that US President Donald Trump had committed Washington to restraining Israel under the terms of the agreement. Abbas Araghchi said, and I quote, "POTUS has committed the US to muzzling its pets in Tel Aviv. If they ignore their master, Iran will school them," unquote. Katz also accused Iran of using negotiations to extract concessions while insisting that Israel would never allow Tehran to obtain nuclear weapons under any circumstances. The Israeli defense minister, along with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has also warned that a third direct confrontation between Israel and Iran remains a real possibility if tensions escalate again. Araghchi, however, cautioned that any military threat or hostile action directed against Iran would be met with an immediate, decisive, and powerful response from Tehran. Iran has called for a new Gulf security order that excludes the United States and all other outside military powers from the region. Iranian Foreign Minister said Tehran is ready to help establish a new regional security framework led by countries within the Gulf. Araghchi said recent wars had demonstrated it was time for Gulf nations to take responsibility for safeguarding their own security. Araghchi made the remarks after holding talks with Iraq's national security advisor, according to Iran International. The foreign minister said the proposed regional framework should also promote broader economic cooperation among neighboring countries. Araghchi argued that lasting regional stability could only be achieved through closer coordination and cooperation among Gulf states. He said military powers from outside the region should have no role in shaping the proposed future Gulf security architecture. Tehran presented the proposal as a lesson drawn from the region's recent security crises and repeated military confrontations. IRGC-affiliated Fars said a commentary discussing nuclear weapons did not represent the agency's official editorial position or policy. The agency said the article appeared in its user-generated content section and should not be interpreted as an official Fars position. The clarification came after the commentary claimed Iran had no alternative but to obtain a nuclear weapon for deterrence. The article argued nuclear deterrence was the only effective way to eliminate the military option against Iran. The commentary also claimed a nuclear weapon could help keep any future conflict with the US and Israel under control. The article surfaced as the United States and Iran continued exchanging military strikes amid tensions over the Strait of Hormuz. Subsequently, the Wall Street Journal reported US-Iran talks in Switzerland had stalled as hostilities between both sides intensified. However, Reuters reported the United States and Iran would continue negotiations as both sides sought to preserve the interim memorandum of understanding. A US official told Reuters the technical discussions would address every major provision contained in the interim memorandum of understanding. The official said commercial shipping would continue moving freely through the Strait of Hormuz while negotiations remained underway. Axios, citing US officials, also reported Washington and Tehran had agreed to halt hostilities while diplomatic efforts continued. The report said both sides were expected to meet in Doha later this week to address their dispute over the Strait of Hormuz. The diplomatic push came after an Iranian official said the planned June 28 talks had been abandoned following recent US strikes. Tehran said the conditions outlined in the interim memorandum of understanding had not been fully implemented before any fresh negotiations.